Hey, we have here Kavita Channe. She is a TV personality, but also a very successful entrepreneur. And today we are going to talk how to be a celebrity as an entrepreneur, how to choose whatever you are good at and turn that into a big success and become the star in your field. Kavita, welcome to Global Woman Club.
Thank you for having me. How is everyone doing in the UK?
Well, yes, some of us are in the UK, but yeah, as you know, we are all over the world, and I can see there where you are in the US, the weather definitely looks a little bit better than here, but would love to hear a little bit more about your story, your journey. How did you start your career as a TV personality? How did you become a TV personality? Because in the media, you know, we start with that big dream that, hey, we are going to become superstars. But yeah, you made it a big success, and now you turn that into a big success in the world of entrepreneurship as well.
Yeah, so it's funny. I have two children now. I'm a mom. My children are 3.5 and 5, and I really pay attention to what they say they want to do, right? Because I felt at such a young age, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to perform. I knew I wanted to, be able to reach like thousands, millions of people. And back then, I think when kids said what they wanted to do, parents were like, oh, sure, go be a doctor or an attorney, ha ha ha, she's so funny. But it turns out that it was actually what I wanted to do. So I spent many years of my life trying to do what others wanted me to do. And, trying to work in business. I worked for a luxury concierge. I almost went to law school. I did all these things and I was never happy. And then I just said, no, I need to follow what I love to do. And oftentimes I think when things don't work out, that's happening for you, right? And I felt like I wanted to be, on camera. I wanted to be a journalist. I went to school to University of Florida for media. And so I didn't pursue it though, until my late 20s. I'm a late bloomer. So if anyone's out here right now that feels like, I'm too old, I can't pursue this dream, that's not the case. You can start at any age. But in my late 20s, I was working for this gentleman who needed a red carpet host. And at the time I was doing small hosting gigs here and there. And he said to me, you need to do this. Like you went to school for media, you got to do it. So I was pushed out onto the red carpet. I was interviewing. My first sports interview ever was LeBron James, who I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he's probably the most famous NBA player in the world. And I was interviewing Paris Hilton, Nikki Hilton, Sofia Vergara, all these people. And I'm talking like 2007, 2008. And from there, I started doing more red carpet hosting. I did entertainment hosting for different networks. But I found out that there was so many women that I was competing against that, had this look that these producers wanted. And I didn't have that look. I'm Indian. I'm from London. And at that time, the look was very blonde girl next door. And so that was the look that they wanted. And I thought, well, maybe this might be a strong uphill battle here. So where can I do what I want to do that doesn't have a lot of people and I can get in there faster, right? And I love sports. So I thought there's not a lot of women in sports. Let me try that. They must need hosts and sideline reporters and all these things. And there was a few, but not a lot. So, and it wasn't based on looks like as much as entertainment. So I went into sports, but I didn't have any background in sports broadcasting. I just had entertainment background. So when I would apply for hosting gigs, they would say, we love what you're doing, but you don't have a background in sports. I don't see you interviewing any athletes. So I went and I started a YouTube channel. And I started interviewing people on my YouTube channel. I found out if anyone knew of an athlete, any athletes that I knew, and then they would introduce me to other people. I interviewed sports executives, all people surrounding the sports industry. And after a year, I got a job with Fox Sports, which was great. And then that flourished into more sports coverage into NHL, MLB, soccer, MMA. And I started working for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the NFL. So I did that. I loved it. And now the problem was,
What's next? Yeah.
Well, no, I was doing this and I thought, I don't want to work for men anymore. I just, I don't want to be like the token girl.
Well done to you.
You know what I mean? And I thought I need to do something that's for myself. I wanted to do something that I had control of. I always had this entrepreneur mindset. My dad is an entrepreneur. He started his own business. I watched him do it as a child. It felt very comfortable for me. It felt more comfortable than it did having an employer and working towards something that I maybe wasn't so excited about. So I went and I started this wine business. And how that happened was I went to a trip to France, and I think I took I had a really long season and I worked like the whole year. And I said, this summer I'm going to treat myself. So we went to Provence in Italy, and everywhere.
So before you go there,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'm going to launch a premium wine business because I'm here and I'm inspired.
Correct.
So is it something that you knew about wine? Or do you like drinking wine, or do you have some kind of passion for wine, or you just discovered it on the way, and from working in the media, you just decided to shift?
Yeah, great question. So I always loved wine. My parents, I grew up watching them throw wine parties. They'd have 10 to 12 families over, couples, whatever, the adults. And, I'd be in my room and my sisters would be like peeking through the middle hallway closet that they would close when they would have their little parties, and they would have wine parties, wine and cheese parties. They would all bring a bottle of wine and compare them and save the labels of the ones they liked. So I grew up, I was comfortable with it. And then in college, again, I didn't really like liquor. People were like drinking rum and tequila and all these fun things. And I was ordering wine. So, my friends would tease me and say, you're getting wine? Like, what are you, 30? And then when you're 19 or 21, 21 to drink, 30 sounds old, right? So, but I loved wine. And then I drank, that was like, if I go out, throughout my life, that's what I drank. I don't drink any other alcohol. So I always loved wine. Now, I did not like rosé.
Tomar prepag sa kami seminar. Tomar prepag.
Excuse me?
Sorry, can you please make sure you are making sure? Yeah, go on.
I don't know if somebody was asking me a question. No, so I didn't really love rosé. I was a white wine, red wine drinker, and I took this trip. As I said, I had a really busy season covering all sports, and then I wanted to take the summer to go away. So I took this trip, and at every hotel or restaurant that I went to, they gave me this beautiful glass of rosé, and it was just here, madame, have a, and I drank it and I loved it, and I found that I could have it with lunch, I could have it with dinner, and then the next morning I would work out. I'd pop up, I'd feel ready, I didn't feel hungover, I'd go work out, and I felt fine. And I fell in love with this kind of wine that I never really drank or loved before. So I come back to the United States and I'm excited because I thought, oh, I like rosé. So I go to my favorite restaurants and I order rosé. And at that time, there was only like 1 or 2 options. Now you'll probably have like 5 to 10 and maybe 3 by the glass, but I would order rosé and I did not like it. And I thought, how am I going to get this? I need this like French memory to last.
It's always like this, Kavita, like you see something and missing. And the first question is like, how do I fix this? How do I make sure that if people are feeling the same, they have it? And how can I, it's like, business is all about providing something, a need that there is in the gap, but you find the solution. So you're going to tell us that you found the solution, yeah?
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I have a TV background. I mean, yes, I love wine, but I'm just a new
exactly. So how do you come with a solution where you are in a completely new, different field?
I know. So it's crazy. So I never thought about ever having my own wine when I was a little younger. Nothing. This thought never came to me. But I said I want to drink this rosé, and I feel like they're saving the good stuff for the French, and then they're selling the bad stuff to the Americans. And I'm like, this is not going to work for me. So I went, I had a friend that was a small distributor, and he said to me, there is this conference in Cannes where all the rosé makers in the world go. He's like, but it's not open to the public. He's like, but if you can get in, you should go. And then, maybe you can make your rosé that you want to make. So I checked it out. And I realized I couldn't just get in because it was for producers and business to business, and you had to be in the industry. So because I had a TV background, I then requested media passes, and they let me have the media passes. I did my coverage on the events, and I met with over 100 different winemakers. And then, I found the one that I loved, which I found the top 3. And then the first was the one that won the gold medal, the one that I've been working with since. So it's an amazing family. They live right outside of San Tropez. They have their own domain. It's a married couple. They have 2 kids. The son is a winemaker, Thomas, and his sister also works with the family. And
there is a story. There is always a why behind, and there is always a story. But you being a media expert definitely looks like it has helped you.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone in journalism, you're resourceful. Like you're out there, sharing information, getting information. You are trying to figure out how to book guests on your show. You're having to message people on LinkedIn or social media to get in contact with them. You've got to do all these, resourceful things. And so I think in business, that really does help, being resourceful and just going for what you want. Of course, people laugh at me. They're like, well, wine business, you don't know anything. I'm like, well, I didn't know anything about hockey before I became an ice side reporter either. You figure it out along the way.
I like that. Now, can we stay here? You're coming exactly to the path that I wanted you to come, because many people are listening to you right now, and they may say, hey, yeah, it was easy for you because you are good in media. You are a journalist. You know how to build your brand. You know how to build your visibility. But what about us? We are not experts in that field. So how can everybody become a celebrity in their niche?
I mean,
what is your experience?
I don't think there's one way to do it, but I think there's many ways to do it, right? So you got to think of where you want to be, close your eyes and envision where you want to be and literally picture you're there and then work your way back. Whatever's the easiest way for you to work your way back, nothing's going to be easy, but whatever you think is achievable, work your way back. And that's what I do with my goals in my business too. I'm like, this is what I want to do. Okay, who's the person that just did it? Who's the brand that just did it? What did they do to do it? What can I do to get to that point? Right. So, and also, there's a quote that I love. It's called, the secret to getting ahead is getting started. Don't worry about if you don't know something. Okay. That's going to come along the way. I mean, there's nobody that wakes up and knows everything. I mean, not even Oprah knows everything. You know what I mean? So it's just, life is just meant to be fun, and you're supposed to do things every day that excite you. So just do that. Do something that excites you. It's not about if you're going to become a millionaire or if you're going to win an Oscar or if you're going to get this end goal. It's actually those things. Yes. In the beginning, you think I want this, but actually all the ups and downs of getting there is the spice of life. You know what I mean? All the things that you do every day. So whatever you do, don't even care if it sounds crazy or if people are judging you, thinking you can't do it. Go for it, because this is your life. It's your book, and you need to be your own author, or otherwise somebody else will. And you don't want that, because that was
so
crazy.
You are saying enjoy the journey and make sure that every single step has a meaning, and you celebrate for every little success you achieve. Because and I really love the expression you just shared. The biggest secret to go ahead is to get started. Ladies, write that down. I mean,
get started. And then the information comes along the way.
This is what stops many people, Kavita, yeah? Because some people, maybe they are perfectionists, or they are waiting until become great on something until they start. What you shared with us is you know what? I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to start with the end in mind. Right.
Well,
so what happens next?
Well, just another example to simplify for people is, I'm sure some of us are mothers out there. It's not like we became an expert in parenting when we had a kid, but we went ahead and did it. We went 9 months and we don't even know what the pain or the feeling is that's going to happen when we gave birth, but it didn't stop us. So think of it the same way. You wanted a baby, you went for it. You didn't know what to expect. We still don't know what we're doing. All of us moms, we're learning along the way. It's the same thing with business.
Yes, absolutely. Now, because you're talking about that part as well, and most of our audience are women, and many times we feel that conflict. We feel but to run a business, it's lots of dedication. It's like a new baby. But hey, we know lots of examples, women who had many kids and they still made it amazing. So let's suppose you have one more baby, and you take care of your babies and your business as a new baby. So how do you do it?
Well, that part is very complicated. Oftentimes there's guilt, whether I'm, we all, as all of us women have, we have this kind of guilt about, not paying enough attention to this, and then you're paying too much attention to this, and then vice versa and whatnot. So it is hard. Like right before this Zoom with you lovely ladies and gents, my son was calling for me, and I just had to tell him, pretend mommy's not home because I'm working right now. So it's just a balancing act, and there's no right or wrong. And it's just the times that I'm working on my business, I make sure that I'm maximizing and I'm doing what I can do best, and that I can do with quality. And the same thing when I'm with my kids, I maximize my time with them. And yes, when you have a business, you're not going to be 100% there all the time with your kids. Hopefully you have help, whether it's a parent or a babysitter or a nanny. I luckily have a nanny. But again, there's guilt, and there's always going to be guilt at the same time.
And do you take them with you, let's say when you travel or you go in meetings? Because I remember when I started my business, I was taking my son everywhere. And when he finished university, he was the best person that he knew everything about my business inside out. So, how do you manage that? How do you balance it?
Yeah. So that's what I try to do, right? So I just opened up our wine in Aspen, in Colorado, in Aspen. And so I took my kids with me, and during the days I brought my COO and I brought my team. And so the way we did it was during the days he was out in meetings, and then I was with my children during the days. We did all these fun things. And then in the evenings I would join for meetings when my kids are going to bed. So, there's that balancing act. Obviously I work in wine, so I can't bring my kids everywhere because that's illegal, but they can't really be in these places that are 21 and up. But yes, they love seeing everything I do. And my daughter, she's 5 and she jokes around and she says, Channe Rose. So she sees what I'm doing. And I try to include them in all the things I do. I'm building a house. They help me pick out, things for the home. Even with my branding and my logo with my business, like I ask them questions. So it's fun.
Muted. Wow, amazing. I can tell the passion that you have and the determination that you have. And for me, it looks like, give you any idea that you love and you believe in it, and you can make it happen, because how you do one thing, you do everything. So,
that's my favorite saying.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, that's what I'm here.
we're so vibing. So every day when I take my kids to school, on the way to school, I always say, are you going to have a good day, or are you going to have a great day? And they say, great. But when we first started it, my daughter said, Mommy, why not good? And I said, well, if you ask me if I'm having a good day, it sounds just like I'm having a good day. But if I said I'm having a great day, how much more fun is that? So every day we say that. And then we also say, how you do something is how you do everything. So, and I usually use that when say they don't want to make their bed. And I'm like, Maverick, how you do something is how you do everything. Do you want to be a superstar or what? What do you want here? So I love that. I love that quote. That's like the best quote. It's my favorite.
Wow, absolutely. I'm loving it. And thank you for being so open. We never met each other, but when I read about you and how do you shift your career in such an easy, enjoyable way, I thought, wow, because sometimes, we find change very difficult and we stick with one thing, but we may have lots of passions. We may have lots of talents.